Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is take you on a test drive. So next to me here, I have the redesigned 2025 Chevrolet Equinox. We'll look at the interior, the exterior, some of the trim level specifics, and then see what it's like out on the road. All right, so now we're behind the wheel of the 25 Chevrolet Equinox, and now this is one of three different trim levels. You have the LT, which is kind of the base trim level, the Active, and then the RS. So the Active and the RS are going to be a little bit different. One's kind of more on-road, one's a little more off-road focused. So the one we have here today is the Active. So we'll get into that a little bit more, but I have my cell phone with me, as we always do. I've got wireless charging here. We've got USB and a USB-C charger, and I've got wireless Apple CarPlay. So you can also do Android Auto in here. This is an 11.3-inch display. And then on the other side, we have an 11-inch display for our gauge cluster. So it's really cool. We'll dig into that a little bit more, but for now, let's put it in drive. We'll go for a spin around. So let's start with what powers this redesigned Equinox. Now, they've done a little bit of tuning to the 1.5-liter turbocharged engine, and this is going to come standard with front-wheel drive. The one we have here today is the optional all-wheel drive. Now, the big difference between the two is the front wheel is going to have the CVT transmission, where the all-wheel drive gets the standard 8-speed automatic transmission. So both are going to be automatics. The CVT actually is less fuel efficient on the highway, which I found to be pretty interesting. This all-wheel drive will get you 29 mpg on the highway. The front-wheel drive is going to be a little bit more efficient in city driving, but overall, you're probably looking at mid-20s between the two of them. So with the all-wheel drive system, you can actually click over here to lock it into the all-wheel drive. Minnesota winters are coming in very quickly, and so we know that's something you might want to have. Now, let's talk about the get up and go. So, merging out on the highway here. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but I think for 95% of the time, when you put your foot down, the little turbocharger kind of winds up and gets you going. So, it's quiet, it's comfortable. The redesign definitely looks more like the Traverse and some of the other Chevrolet lineup now, but I think this car really changed on the interior. So when I got in, I actually sat down by myself and went, oh, nice, because the seats are so good in here. This is actually called Evotex. It's kind of a mock leather. It's easy to clean. It looks nice. It wears very nicely over time. And if you got the kiddos in the back, somebody spills something, it is really easy to clean up. And I think it looks really cool as well. So this also kind of has a microfiber suede in the Active trim. The kind of brown, almost like a lighter peanut butter color with the stitching that runs through in here. I think the cabin is gorgeous. And now this car on the MSRP, loaded up as it is, we're looking at about $40,000. So the Equinox can start, I think, right at about 29, kind of that high 20 range, probably low 30s, depending on which trim level you're looking at. So the LT base model, if you're just looking for the front wheel drive, is going to probably be around 30,000. Now, if we're going up to this trim level or the RS, which is going to be more of the on-road focused, that's going to get you kind of high 30s or low 40s. Now, the average new car price in the US is about $48,000. So this is a lot of car for the money. This is going to have heated and ventilated seats, as well. The second row is also going to be heated back there. Plus, this thicker steering wheel is also heated for the Minnesota winters. And now what's cool, on the key fob, you actually have a remote start on there. So if I fire up the vehicle, it'll actually know the temperature outside, and that would be able to turn the heated seat on for me, which is a feature I absolutely love. Now, what about the overall ride and drive? Like I said, it's quiet. Comfortable. The steering is pretty light. That's something I noticed kind of comparing some of the Chevy SUVs with maybe some of the Toyota or Honda or Nissans of the world. The steering has a very light feel to it, and it's just kind of not a fatiguing drive when you're behind the wheel. It does make it really simple, kind of through these back windy roads around the lake here. It's, I mean, like I said, 95% of the time, it's gonna be perfect for what you need. I'm 6'1", and I had to move the seat forward quite a bit, but the rear legroom is really what makes a pretty big difference. Now, this is kind of a compact SUV, but you're still getting headroom back there. I'm getting legroom in the rear seats, and that is pretty rare for me when looking at the compact SUVs. Now, this Active trim also gets the panoramic sunroof, so that really opens it up. If you got the kids in the back or rear passengers, they're gonna love that. Plus, now there's no transmission tunnel running on the floor. So it's gonna be a flat floor, so you can actually put 5 people, and whoever's stuck in the middle isn't gonna be super uncomfortable. Now, a few other pretty cool things. This one does get the dual zone climate control up here, and you do get vents in the back. So whether it's the kiddos or the pets back there, everyone's gonna be nice and comfortable there. But like I said, the wireless Apple CarPlay. So I've got Google Maps, text messaging, Spotify, everything built in there. And then I can even use Google Maps on the 11-inch infotainment or digital cluster on this side. So there's a little button on the steering wheel I can click. That allows me to go through a couple different Google Maps settings. I can see my audio information, some of my trip computer stuff. And there's also another screen in the home screen here. So if you go over and you click on the vehicle status, that's going to show you almost too much information. You can see your tire and brake, fluid and filter, when that stuff might need to be changed, or your engine, the battery voltage, your coolant temps. There's so much stuff you can monitor in this vehicle, and then you also can change all your safety stuff as well. So this vehicle does have a ton of safety built in. Obviously, if it's you and the family in the vehicle, you're gonna wanna make sure you're safe. Adaptive cruise control with emergency braking. This has blind spot monitoring. The backup camera in here is so cool. So now if we come up to a stop and I put it into reverse, I've got a full 360 view. So I can see out front, behind, you can click to see side to side of the vehicle. And another thing that's cool, if I'm still in drive, I can actually go into the little screen here up in the corner and I can click on the camera button so I can pull up that camera. If the kids maybe left some stuff in the driveway, you got a tight parking spot trying to see, that's pretty cool as well. Now this also has Amazon Alexa now built in. So you can sign into your Amazon account, you can use Alexa through here. There's also the Google Assistant. So you can use that and say, Walser Polar Chevrolet. If you're coming here for service, it will show you how to get there. So it'll pull up the directions in green on the left screen here, and then on your full infotainment screen, it will give you that Google Maps or the regular built-in navigation to show you where you're going. It's really cool, and the screen is very responsive. Some of the new cars, it's almost kind of frustrating how slow it is when you're going through stuff. But if you go into the Apple CarPlay, you can swipe back and forth very quickly, or on the regular screen, whether it's your audio or some of the other settings, that's pretty cool as well. So just a few other little things in here. You've got the digital rear view mirror. So if you loaded up the stuff, you're heading to the cabin, you can't quite see out the back window, you can actually flip this thing up, and that's going to give you a clear vision out of the back of the car, which I definitely like as well. So one cool thing with the shift-by-wire system is that you get a lot of room for the cup holders. This is a very deep center console, and then actually underneath here, there's a little storage as well. Whether you're putting your purse or anything else you're bringing with you, having that little extra space is pretty cool. Now, the difference between the RS and the Activ trim, the Activ, they're focusing more on the outdoor enthusiasts. This gets the 17-inch wheels with the general grabber tires, so you're gonna have a little bit more bite, maybe if you're going down a gravel road, or like I said, heading up to the cabin, and the RS is gonna be more street focused. So if you don't plan on doing any of that, you might wanna tend to lean towards that model, but this one's cool. It's got the roof rack rails up above, so you can throw the bikes up there, the kayaks, and this one also gets a powered lift gate. Storage space in the back is much better, I think, compared to the outgoing Equinox, and you still get a 60-40 split rear seat, so you can kick the seats down, and you get plenty of space to haul stuff around if you're not hauling people with you. So overall, the cabin layout in here is really good. Like I said, the stitching that runs through, there's kind of a copper colored stitching with the lighter tan and the black, and even just some of the trim, I guess like the vents in here, the two big vents look really cool, and just kind of everything flows and works really nicely together. Overall, I love the exterior styling. So there's a few differences whether you're looking at the Activ. This one kind of has the chrome front end, where the RS is going to be a little bit sportier, kind of gets more of that Camaro feel to it. But the LED headlights look really cool, as well as the LED taillights. You can do a two-tone color. There's lots of really unique and cool colors. There's kind of a softer green or the blue that look really good as well. Different wheel options, trim levels, and price points. So I think if you're in the market for a compact or even a subcompact or crossover SUV, I think with the redesign, the technology, and the price point that you can get into the Chevy Equinox for, I think you have to get out, take one for a spin, and see what you think. Now that was just a quick look and drive at the 25 Chevrolet Equinox. If you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by anytime. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.